YouTube, Instagram. Yo, what is up? It's that time, it's that hour. It's Righteous with another video. All right, so this video is going to be a little bit different than my typical videos. I usually do videos on boxing, sports, that kind of stuff. If you haven't seen me, you're gonna know why. But this video is gonna be more about the Amazon culture, why I quiet quit Amazon, and what happened during the time that I was there, how I got the job and whatnot. So I'm gonna start off with letting you guys know that I'm not gonna say exactly who I worked for, managers and whatnot. I'm gonna keep people's names out, and I'm actually gonna be a little bit 50-50 when it comes to how I was treated, because to be honest with you, it wasn't anything negative. It wasn't a bad departure. It was pretty fair, to be honest. But to get started with the whole video, when I first started working for Amazon, it was through the working in my personal vehicle. So in my personal vehicle, I will pick up blocks. I don't know if you've ever seen that online or on YouTube. There's the Amazon Flex app. I used to do that before I started working as a delivery driver. The first thing I did was pick up at stations and whatnot. I was trying to pick up blocks, so I would average around 2 blocks a day to 3 blocks a day. And I would try to average around $150 to $200 a day back in 2022. This was in the spring. I had just left a job when I was working for a security company. I left that security company, and then I needed something to make money right away, so I started doing Amazon Flex. Welcome. So I started doing Amazon Flex. I started making money there, and then in the summer, I don't know if you guys remember, in the summer of 2022, the gas prices started to go up. So in the summer, that is typical, but around this time it was a little more inflated, so it was a little scary. And I have a hybrid vehicle, but it was looking too crazy for me. Previously, in like 2020 and before that, I was already doing Uber and Lyft, so I was already used to being in my car and paying for gas and whatnot, doing my own taxes. But I got tired of paying that kind of stuff, so I was like, you know what, let me go get a job with Amazon. Let me see what it's like. I already know what it's like to be in the warehouse or pick up from them and deal with them. Let me see what it's like to have their benefits. Let me see what it's like to make money with them, so I found myself being on the same routes as some of the delivery drivers, which was cool, because I'm like, okay, it's like I'm helping them out. I'm already a part of the team. So I go ahead and I ask one of those drivers, to say, yo, how do I become a driver? So they start telling me some of the websites, and some websites are specific to their distribution center. So if you're thinking about location, then that is beneficial, because obviously you want to be going to the right location to work. You don't want to be going across town if you can help it. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, I was looking for a specific area to be nearby. And I found out the website, but I kept asking. Just ask one of the drivers, ask around, ask one of your friends. I don't think on Amazon.com you can become a delivery driver. I could be wrong, but I think to work at the warehouse, that's probably where you want to go, is the Amazon.com website. I'm not sure, but to be a driver, there's specifics, because from what I understand, most people that work for these driving companies are you're usually working for a third-party company that works alongside with Amazon. So I didn't know that, but it's still Amazon in my opinion. And I learned very quickly that you're treated as if you're an Amazon employee, because you very much are. It's just when you're out there on the road, everything is more about safety and stuff like that, so like that you don't get the Amazon brand in trouble or whatever. But again, there's gray areas. It doesn't matter. So to go back to the story of how it happened, and then also to let you guys know what you're gonna face when you become a driver. Uh, the initial thing that happened was I got an interview, passed the interview. It was very cordial, very easy. I gave my resume. They called me in like 2 days. It was all while I was working as a flex driver. Uh, and then after the interview became orientation started. So also another thing with the pay, every 6 months you do get a raise. Every 6 months you do get a raise, and usually around like Christmas, holidays, and stuff like that. There's usually little bumps to your money, which is cool. So if you need money around the time of like Black Friday or whatever, they are providing extra monies to your check, and that's awesome too. So I always thought that was cool. Um, Going back to June, so I get hired around June or something like that, and they do orientation. After the second or third day of orientation, at first you're leaving early. Second, third day, you're like almost all day there. And then by the fourth day, as a driver, you start to see that you're going to be taking a test. Like they're preparing you to take a test. In the like little movies that you're watching and stuff like that, and like little videos that you're watching, you're being tested on what you remember. So it's constantly trying to get you to remember, don't do this, do this, do this, don't do this. These drivers are like this. This driver did this, don't do this. It's like, just making you a part of the system, and also introducing you into their policies and whatnot, learning how to organize your truck, stuff like that. And then you start to get ready for the test. So when I took the test, they let you warm up, let you figure out how to use the vehicle, how it is to feel inside the vehicle and stuff like that. The mirrors and everything are different, so you got to check out for that, look out for that. But I didn't pass because I felt like my instructor was kind of like against me or whatever. I don't know what the person had against me, but like, it is what it is. And I spoke up right away. I was like, yo, this instructor's we're not vibing right now. Like, we're not seeing eye to eye. And I'm not gonna say I'm a NASCAR driver, like I'm amazing driver or whatever, but I think I'm above average. I've been driving since I was like 16, 17, and I'm from New York, where we learn how to parallel park. So I'm prideful of my driving skills. But anyway, I got that done. You know what I'm saying? I got another instructor and everything went good. It got to a point where they were saying I was being too careful. So, everything was good. I passed. They told me how to be careful, because a lot of times you have to be aware that there's a camera in the truck. For the most part, most of the branded vehicles have cameras, and I'm telling you right now, majority of those trucks will have cameras in them. If they don't, it doesn't matter. They're still tracking you in some way or some fashion. I don't want to give up all the secrets, but obviously, at the end of the day, it's better to be safe out there anyway. So that's what they were teaching me. Then I started to realize that I'm going to be trained, like actually sit with a driver and be there for his whole route. So he or she, because there were quite a bit of females working as drivers too. So nothing. I started working, and I started being trained. Shout out to that trainer. Started working with the trainer. I learned how that he was doing his system. I have my own scenario of how that happened, because like I said, I'm going to be doing like a 50-50 type of video, where the first part of it is informative and the second part is opinionated. But yeah, that first day was pretty cool. I got to see firsthand how they were doing it, and I was comparing it to being a flex driver to being a delivery driver for Amazon. And it was quite different. So the biggest difference is stops. So the term stops is more used as a delivery driver versus in the Flex app. And when you're talking to Flex drivers, the majority of them are using words like packages, like how many packages do you have, how many packages do you have to drop off, or whatever. So that's the majority of the terminologies and stuff, and it's very different, you know what I'm saying? Because if you start to pay attention too much on how many packages you have, you're gonna go crazy when it comes to the delivery trucks, because they carry way more than a Flex driver, way more. I don't care what kind of car you have, you're not gonna be carrying the amount that Amazon delivery truck has. So there's a big difference, and if you put it into stops, way easier. So I was like, okay, stops, this and that, whatever. Second day I go to training again, but they're already like, yo, we need you out there. It's already feeling like I'm a driver, because in the mornings they call out your names, they call out your truck, boom, you get your little routine to set up your vehicle, and then you're packing up the truck. So that's what I was doing as a helper, as someone that was being trained. I was loading the trucks and learning how to stack those trucks. They were doing this in orientation, but it's different when you're in person and you're actually loading the truck yourself. So when I was loading it, I was noticing that in some trucks it's very different the way they set it up. And some guys, they only want that specific truck, they only want a specific route. It's very, very meticulous, because you want to do everything right. You got the Amazon jacket on, blah blah blah. You just want to do everything right. So that's part of the culture. Just warning you. But yeah, when you load that truck, everybody does it differently. Majority are following the phone, because on the phone you can pinpoint where you want to put everything, and it also tells you how to put at least your first totes. So totes, they're like these plastic containers that hold all the packages, whether it's the plastic white packages or the boxes that you usually get at your apartment or your house or whatever. And they put them all in those plastic containers, and they're all in color. So you put one on top that you're gonna take first, and then the second one is the one that's usually, it sits at the bottom. And there's dividers in some of the trucks and stuff like that. So when I trained, the guy that I was training with had the best truck. Like there's at least 5 or 10 of them where I was working at, and then there's other versions of those trucks, but like skinnier or whatever. And that's what I drove the first day that I was delivering for Amazon. And with the dividers, it's kind of easy, because you can set it up, you can make room, you can check out how you're going to organize the truck and stuff like that. And there's other trucks that don't have that stuff, and some people actually prefer that. So it depends on what you like to do as a driver. But me, I always like the dividers. But that became a thing where it's like I'm competing for it, I want it, but I also have to prove it by driving safe and stuff like that. So again, red lights, stop signs, speeding, all that, neighborhoods, you gotta slow down, you can't be going too fast. But yeah, boom, after June comes, I start having back issues, because I had back issues from an accident. I had tweaked it, loading the trucks and stuff like that. So I was actually floating in the job, and they were actually okay with me calling out or whatever. The pay was like bi-weekly. So from what I understand, even the warehouse workers, they get paid bi-weekly, same thing. I was getting used to it. I was more thinking about my school schedule and picking up my kid. So I liked the schedule that they had. From what I understand, where I worked at, they gave me 3 days off, but you were working 4 days, 10 hours. Pretty hectic. It can get a little hectic, but for the most part, you're always gonna have those days. And when they gave me my days, bro, they did not deviate from that. They didn't have me 1 week, switching me too much. They stayed to the course or whatever. And there's apps and stuff that they use that keeps everybody in the loop, always transparent when it comes to weather, when it comes to communications for covers. If you want to get covered, you can get covered. If you gotta work, if you got a day off, you have to go see a family member, you gotta go see a doctor, whatever, you can trade and switch days and whatever. So that's always cool too. But like I said, going back to my situation, I was more worried about school and my back. Money wise, I was cool. Then October comes, I get into a car accident again. This was leaving the job. I was trying to get gas to put in my car before I go home and study. So before I get to the gas station, I get hit. So that created the whole quiet quitting part for me official, because at first I was like, I need to look for another job because it's already physically demanding. It's something that I was not exactly great at, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't used to that. I was always used to being really good and people never really complaining about the way I work. Not to say that they were complaining, but they were still like, is he gonna be fast like these other fast guys, or is he gonna be slow like all the other slow people? Because there was in-betweeners, but majority of those guys and gals were pretty fast. It just is what it is. But anyway, tweak the back, bomb, they ain't get into a car accident, I'm done. There's no way. So I'm here trying to focus on my health, and this is where the quiet quitting part starts to come in. Quietly thinking, how do I get out of this? How do I switch up the scenario? My health came first. So when it came to October to maybe December, I was already thinking, I gotta find something that could allow me to make money that is not gonna be heavy duty or whatever. So I start researching, thinking about how I'm gonna do this work, how I'm gonna switch it off. Obviously, I'm not communicating with them about that because they're more worried about my health. And shout out to them, because they never fired me. Either way, I probably wouldn't have gotten unemployment, but I'm not sure. But they played their business right anyway, because if they didn't want me to get unemployment, then obviously firing me goes against what they would want. So I was thinking, all right, I see that they're playing the game, I'm gonna play the game too. So I had to make sure I was good, and before I came back, I made sure that I was good. You know what I'm saying? Went to the gym, did what I had to do to make sure I could handle the physical part of the job. So respect. Shout out to you. I got a live going on over here on Instagram as well, but I just want to keep letting you guys know about the job as well. So yeah, going back to when I was going back to the job, I had to be in good shape. I get in good shape, get ready to start working again, but I'm already like, because the clock is ticking, you know what I'm saying? They had a system too. Half and half of it is them manually going in and fixing things. The other part of it is computerized and systemized, because it's all route based. So right before I quit, or resigned I should say, I asked for a specific route and they were giving it to me. But then when I came back the next week to restart my schedule after like my Monday started, I didn't have that route again. I was like, damn. So I got to keep calling these people and letting them know. So that's a part of the game too. So I want you to know you're going to have to open your mouth. You're going to have to say things to defend yourself in that situation, because you're out there. You're the one that's having to do these jobs. So there's going to be disputes, or there's going to be like things that you're not going to like. Some people like apartments. Some people like working and dropping off at businesses and stuff, or like only houses or whatever. You know, you have to have these conversations with the managers if you being there full time. So since I was trying to get back into staying there, but also like looking for jobs in the background, I'm like, nah, let me try to see what I could do. But it's also computerized, so you got to remember that. When I did it, I had to speak up. So boom, I speak up. Changes happen, but it's slowly, because I'm still getting back to my grind. It wasn't a perfect or smooth scenario, but whenever I would have, let's say, a slow day, the next day they would find a way to cut your hours. Now, I don't know if this happens in every distribution center or with every delivery company, but I guess because they were trying to stay under a certain amount of hours, they would find a way to cut your hours, or like figure out a way to what's it called, for you to do something else. Sometimes they would also have you as a rescue. So rescue is someone that goes and helps a driver that, you know, is having trouble with their route or whatever. Maybe something happened, their tire blew, whatever. Anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Anything can happen. But they allow you to go and help or whatever, and that allows you to get more hours. But if it's a scenario where you're too slow or whatever, sometimes they will cut you back. So that's what was going on with me. I was having a little bit of both, where I'm a rescue, and then another moment I am being cut with my hours. I'm like, dang, this is just motivating me to get out of this job even more. So long story short, or long story to be even longer, I wind up quitting. I found another job. And I'm still looking for more jobs. I'm still an ambitious person. But I was there for a pretty long time. And to be honest with you, I don't have that much bad things to say about being an Amazon delivery driver. I will tell you though, quiet quitting is very different for me. I've never really done it. It sucks because it's not one of those things where you don't want to give your best. But a lot of times it is kind of that. It's just this situation for me, it was more about my health, you know, with my back and the injuries and whatnot. But again, everybody has their own reasons. So I can't say that quiet quitting is always a negative thing. I think it's a situational thing, and I think it's also a specific thing for that person, because they want to move on, they want to grow, and they want to do something different, or they just thought that maybe the job was one thing and then now the job is another thing. I've seen people go through changes. When I was in the accident in October, I saw quite a bit of people that were there from the summer transitioning all the way into the winter, or fall, I should say, because October is fall. And then when I came back in January, this January right now, some of those people were gone. There were new people there, new faces and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow. And then one time when I got rescued, someone asked me if I was new, and I was like, oh my gosh, you think I'm new? I went through hell with this job, you know, because in the summer here in Vegas, it's hot, man. It's 115 degrees, 110 degrees. So I'm like, yo, I ain't new, bro. I'm going through this just like you. But then some of the folks didn't recognize me because I had cut off my beard. Whatever. Long story short, just want to let you guys know how it was for me. You know, it's not a bad job. Just be safe, you know, because with the branded vehicles, anytime you're driving a branded vehicle, it's easy to get used to driving so much and no one stopping you, because cops most times they know that you're working, so they're not gonna stop you for every little thing, like if you were driving your car. But when it comes to working for a distribution company, like what I was working for, where they're partnering up with Amazon, it's very different, man. It's super different. Um, they do have your back though for most of the part. Like from what I remember, how my experience was, they do have your back. The things you want to look out for is, health insurance, PTO, things like that. That's stuff that was provided for me, and I was allowed to go and take care of stuff. They have dental, they have eye vision. These things were good, so they weren't exactly Amazon, but they provided things as if they were Amazon. So those are very important things, as a person that wants to look for a job or is interested in working as a delivery driver. You're not gonna make as much as some of the other companies, but you're gonna be out there as if you are. So if you're gonna do it for a year or 2, 5 years, whatever, just know that these things are gonna be a part of the system. And there is some room to grow, but for the most part, when I was injured and whatnot, I asked for different positions, and there wasn't any different positions. It's either you're a delivery driver or you are a manager, and the managers usually were delivery drivers. So that was a good thing too, because they know the system just as much as you do, and they all have their ways of organizing and delivering and stuff like that. So they will be able to help you. There's usually like 3 or 4 of them. But that was a different time for me. Now I'm moving on. I will make another video about that maybe. Hopefully you guys can tune in. If you guys want me to make more videos about driving and whatnot, or those kind of jobs, let me know. I'll make some more videos. But I did want to touch on the topic of quiet quitting. I think that's something that's been going on. They're just using a different terminology now, but yeah, look into it. Like I said, ask a driver, and you'll be able to find out where to apply. So good luck to you guys. Hope all is well. Enjoy your weekend. Much love, much respect, and keep hustling. Never stop, never settle. Peace out. Later.